Over the past couple of days, I've been at work translating Dougall Dixon's Greenworld, which, as you may recall, has been the topic of my last handful of videos here on the channel. In 3 parts, I went through the book page by page, so that those of you out there who may never get a chance to own this rare book could have a look and see what was contained within. Now, with Greenworld only having been published in Japan, the majority of the text is obviously in Japanese, with a smattering of English here and there. While this would have posed a serious problem to the non-Japanese speaker in days past, today this is less of an issue. I've been using Google Lens on my phone to provide automatic translations of the results, and they have been very illuminating. Of course, the translations aren't perfect. It isn't just a matter of changing each word from Japanese to English. There's other things that have to be considered, things like subtext, context, having the text actually make sense for the localization it's for, etc. You know all of this, I'm sure, but nevertheless, the results I have so far are still able to give us a very good idea of what is being said. Greenworld is a bit of a funny one, as it's a case of translating a book that must surely have originally been written in English, which was then translated into Japanese and then back into English by me. It of course goes without saying that some of what was originally meant to be conveyed to the reader will be lost, but worry not, the results I have for you today are still readable and still deeply fascinating. Now, before we crack on, I'd like to quickly ask that you please hit the like button and the bell icon to be notified of future uploads if you haven't already. Thank you. We are strangers here. This is the short message printed on the inner cover. Of course, human beings very much are strangers on Greenworld, and it must be treated with the respect it deserves. The title page here, of course, says Greenworld by Dougall Dixon. A short communication follows. I will read it word for word, but please bear in mind that to an English speaker, the way it's written will seem very odd, but the message comes across regardless. To all immigrants, our journey is nearing its end. 3 days later, the Skyflower entered the Ascaris system. 10 days later, it was scheduled to enter orbit around the second planet, Ascaris. A preliminary survey revealed that Raven 18 had discovered the planet. Moon has been confirmed to have water and a breathable atmosphere, is covered with dust and is home to many living creatures. There are 2 planets, the larger of which has rings like Saturn. The smaller one orbits in a retrograde direction. 5 weeks after some investigation, we will create a map. Landing craft was launched in the assigned order. You will disembark at Samara. When the landing is complete, moment on, a new era for humanity will begin. From that. Let's show our respect for this planet. Don't forget, please come to Ascaris 2, a planet where humans have never set foot before. It is an unknown green world. Please never forget why we came here and the mistakes we made on Earth. We are strangers here. Please always keep this in mind. So it would seem that the Skyflower is the name of the craft bringing the colonies to this new world. It was apparently found by the Raven 18, a scout ship perhaps. We're given details of the planet's biosphere and ecology and are told that this is humanity's new home and it must be treated with great care. A map follows and we can see translated versions of the names that label the different regions. The human settlers seem to all be concentrated around one region for the moment. The next page reiterates the same short message as before. We are strangers here. It would seem that they wish to really drive this point home. The next section seems to take place in an area of Greenworld called the Plains of Kansas Toto, though the translation calls it Kansas Tot Plains. However, the Plains of Kansas Toto name is stated in English in the actual book itself, so we can disregard the translation for this one. It also states that it is the year 30, which means humans have been here for 3 decades by this point. I will now, for this video, read the first 3 pages of this section and, upon finishing each page, give you some of my thoughts and a short commentary. Feel free to give your thoughts in the comments. Grandpa, tell me more about the Earth. The satisfied smile disappeared from Solomon Horowitz's face, and he suddenly looked a decade older. Solomon was 57 years old. Grandsons are crazy curious. No, they're just expressing normal curiosity. Very normal for a 10-year-old boy, and actually quite healthy. And he should have been happy. At least one of his grandsons was interested in the Earth. There were beautiful old photos of the Earth hanging on the walls of the house, but his siblings and cousins didn't seem to care at all. It was a hot, lazy day with a seasonal feel. Summer in the northern part of the Greenworld was about to come to an end. Harvest is progressing slowly, with the crops being stored or sold, and crops in the fields destined for a second harvest are about to ripen. Solomon and his grandson were looking out over the fields from the farmhouse balcony. Beyond the fields, the mountains were faintly visible. A dusty wound covered Kansas Totodira Station. Small pads clung to the sun-tanned skin of the two, but when they saw there was nothing to eat, they hopped away. From the wound in the distance, a skin-like shape of a blue buck flew up, revealing only its white belly. It looked as if it was chasing something invisible. What do you want to know, boy? So we're introduced to some characters who live in this part of Greenworld. Solomon Horowitz, at 57 years of age, would be one of the original settlers who came from Earth. His grandson is curious about his family origins, though none of his peers seem to care. I suppose that's normal, really. If they've never seen Earth and will probably never even go there, why would they care about it? The world building has begun, and I'm already invested. Now, for page 2. The smile returned to Solomon's face. However, it was only a flash of a smile. It's the haughty smile of an old man in front of an enthusiastic student. Was Earth a lot like Greenworld? There was a time like that. We were the same size as Greenworld. We had the same atmospheric conditions, so it was comfortable to live on. We were the same distance from the star that gave us light and heat, and the years passed at the same rate. Earth was beautiful. Sure, we had our problems, but we generally managed to get by. There was no need to evacuate in the first place. His grandson didn't want to hear that, but Solomon Horowitz, tired. The man, he kept talking. There were animals and plants on Earth too, but they were completely different from the plants and animals here. There were no dufflebuds, spitars or eggers, no hipples, juggalegs or rompels. There were only butterflies, zebras, lions, ostriches, hamsters and hippos. Grandpa, what's a rumble? How stupid. I wonder if dufflebuds are bouncing around in my grandson's head. The rumbles are large animals that live in groups here along the lazy river, wallowing in the puddles. They are big, fat creatures, similar to the hippos that once lived on Earth. We get a bit of a description of what Greenworld is like and how it compares to Earth. It seems that there are many life forms there that correspond somewhat to the animals we have here. The planet's sun is about the same distance as ours is from Earth, meaning that conditions there are just right for habitation. What on earth are you doing? This is going around in circles. And why should I lecture you about creatures in the Greenworld? My specialty is the Earth. My grandson didn't seem to be listening anymore. He was drawing pictures of animals on the dried-up streets on top of the piled-up fruit. Horowitz straightened up, squinting his eyes at the bright horizon. Maybe it was the conversation he had just had, but he was feeling an unbearable sense of nostalgia. Earth is not the paradise he remembers. He knows it. It's a pitiful theatre now. But maybe one day their descendants will return to Earth. Maybe someday, once they sort out the mess. The bluebacks were approaching us. They were flying in a spiral, feeding on tiny creatures and microscopic plants that had been lifted into the air. It seemed that a herd of animals or a group of people was approaching us. Judging from the yellow berries, that was for sure. Soon we saw a person on a strider approaching, moving jerkily. He was at the head of the group. The group was travelling along North Trek Road, a country road where roads from Tyra Station and the mountains merge, passing farms and fields and continuing on to the town of Small Steps. This was another difference from Earth. On Earth, when we say road, It is usually something like this. It was a decorated road with tall things lined up in front. People and vehicles were constantly passing by, and the noise and stench made me choke. Solomon Horowitz still feels a connection to the Earth, and it seems like he wants humanity to return there one day, once all the mess has been cleared up. Must be quite hard for him to feel like this and have hardly anyone around who has even seen Earth before. A unique sort of loneliness. He sees some sort of flying animal called a bluebag approaching, which apparently feeds on microscopic plants in the air and creatures. Some travellers on the striders seem to be approaching too. This doesn't appear to be cause for alarm. I suppose on a world like Greenworld, people are very open to meeting strangers. They do, after all, share a common cause, and that is to make this new world the best it can be for future generations. He also seems to talk about some differences in the meaning of the word road between Greenworld and Earth, though I suspect much has been lost in translation here. If you have any ideas on what this could mean, leave a comment below. And I think we'll leave it there for now. I know it may seem like we haven't covered very much, but it's really a case of striking a balance between having some interesting things to talk about in a video, while also making it last a length of time that people will usually stick around for. In my case, around 8 to 13 minutes seems to be the sweet spot. YouTube analytics really are a pain, as is the algorithm. There will be more coming of course, and we will get further into the story of Greenworld. I do hope that what I've been able to furnish you with today has been interesting and enjoyable. If it was, then please hit the like button and the bell icon, leave a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. This has been the Bewarecast, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. Thanks for watching the Bewarecast. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit the like button, along with the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified of future uploads. Also, please feel free to leave a comment on this video with your thoughts and share it around with anyone who you think would find it interesting. I'd also like to encourage you to become a patron of mine on Patreon, where, for as little as £1, dollar or euro a month, you'll have access to exclusive bits and pieces from me, such as sneak peeks of my own upcoming speculative biology book, The Telescope, a study of alien worlds from Earth. The introduction chapter of The Telescope is available on there now, read by myself, so if you want to check it out, then just follow the link in the description. I would also like to thank my current members and patrons who could be seen here. This has been the Bewarecast, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.